Now, welcome everybody to Castlevania Curse of Darkness. This is easily one of my favorite Castlevanias of the entire series. I mentioned that a minute ago. It's probably one of the most well put together from a gameplay perspective. And now enjoy the opening cutscene. You may recognize someone's voice.
1476, Galatia. A great war raged between Dracula and humanity. Just when it seemed that there was no hope for mankind to prevail. Out of the darkness and despair, a champion arose. A true-blooded vampire hunter named Trevor Belmont. Belmont and his comrades triumphantly slew Lord Dracula. A truly glorious victory for all. However,
It's
the
pull my
evil
devil
one
trigger.
did not pass from this world in silence. With his final words, Lord Dracula left a demonic curse that enshrouded all of Europe in misery and torment. Ravaged by hideous plague and dire famine, the people's hearts turned black and murderous. The weak were slain without pity, while the land was pillaged and scourged without remorse. 3 years have passed since the death of Lord Dracula, and the invocation of Dracula's curse.
Show yourself, Isaac! I know you're here!
Yeah, Crispin Freeman also voices Hector in this game.
Hector! Is that you?
I finally tracked you down.
You tracked me down. I was the one who lured you here. Hector, the fool who betrayed our Lord Dracula.
That matters not. I've come to exact my revenge upon you. For the death of Rosalie!
Oh, and how will you have this revenge? When you are utterly at my mercy, you relinquished your powers. You couldn't even protect your own woman.
Graphics, that's
You
what's up.
think to defeat me? Lord Dracula is gone.
Welcome to
but
PS2
his
games.
powers are still here in Valencia. Even you must realize.
Devil forging.
Indeed, with this the most forbidden of arts, a wisp of conjured matter can be transformed into a hellish devil. There are but 2 humans who possess this magnificent power. You and I.
Yes. To our lasting shame. But I shed that evil power. Never again will I use it.
Ah, but you will, Hector, and soon you have no choice. Without it, I could crush you in an instant. But that wouldn't be very satisfying, now would it? You deserve a most gruesome fate for the humiliation you brought upon me 3 years ago. Bereft of the power of devil forging, you cannot hope to pursue me. That is why you will reclaim your powers, and thence follow where I lead you. But, in the end, the glorious vengeance you seek will not be yours. It will be mine.
Wait! Isaac! Damn him. So be it. I must descend into darkness and reclaim that accursed power once more. Heed my words. I will hunt you down like the beast you are! I will have my revenge.
God, I love that voice. The Abandoned Castle. So I'm going to do the entire first level of the game for you guys. This is the beginning of a full stream through of this series, or of this particular game, and this is one of the more interesting games, in my opinion, in the Castlevania series. Largely due to a system that we'll see here in a bit. We're equipped with nothing but a short sword, and we don't really have any items. You'll also notice material is an item that we can get. Rare items are basically code for key items. You may notice something already, and that is that this game is not anywhere near as dark as its predecessor. You can actually kind of fucking see what's happening on the screen. So I'm going to talk about what this game does well here in a second. Or what this game doesn't do well, actually, because what this game does do well is the gameplay is incredible, the combat is incredible, the here it is, memorial ticket, warps to last registered save point. Lament of Innocence would actually benefit immensely from a remake. Particularly to fix the writing, but also to fix the bad camera angles and a lot of the bad combat system. Like, the combat system was meh, and the magic system definitely could use an overhaul. First of all, you'll also notice the save points have been revamped. These cool looking ass chairs and stuff that are in here. The Abandoned Castle may also look a little familiar to you once you get used to seeing it in the different graphical engine. And that's because it's actually Walter's castle. This is the castle of Walter Bernhard. This game chronologically takes place right after Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, about 3 years after the events of Castlevania 3, which is probably why the game may feel a little different. If you are a fan of the Castlevania animation, you will recognize Hector, you will recognize Isaac's name, but you may also realize these characters, first of all, they're behaving very differently than the characters from the Castlevania animation, and that's because this is how they were originally intended to be designed. Quick step. Now we have the quick step available to us. The game just kind of hands it to you. We also now have access to some bronze. Hector is not a meek individual in this game. You will notice that Hector is very aggressive. He's very violent. He is a darker human being in this game, and I love him for it, because I think his darker behavior actually suits the Castlevania universe a hell of a lot better, and it also definitely suits the kind of person that Dracula would want in his army. His much more violent tendencies also make a lot more sense than the pacifist Hector that you see in Castlevania the animation. pacifistic people like that would not easily want to wipe out their own species or try to. And I don't say that to shit on the writing of the animation. For the most part, his writing is kind of okay for the animation. This is a very different Hector. In terms of Isaac, you will notice that Isaac is extremely different. First of all, Isaac is Wallachian. He is not African. Personally, I don't like the fact that they race swapped him in the animation. The main reason why I don't like it is because they rewrote his backstory to fit the culture, which is what you should do when you do that. First of all, I will not take this away. They should have done that for the sake of the show if they were going to change his ethnicity. However, I don't like that they race swapped him because the character that they ultimately show you is not Isaac. He is somebody completely different. He has African culture. He has a slave background. He has an entirely different lookout approach on life as a result. And that, to me, doesn't make him Isaac. And the reality is that that's not Isaac. If Isaac was tied exclusively to his name, okay, yes, you have a point. That's Isaac. But Isaac is not a name. Isaac is a person. You are talking about a character, not just a name. And this is the main reason why I hated Castlevania Nocturne as well, because the maps have returned, by the way. You're going to find a map of virtually every area. The woman that was called Annette, that wasn't Annette. There is an RPG system in this game. We just leveled up. As we acquire experience points, we will level up and grow in power. That's one of the first improvements this game makes. The second you'll notice is the graphical overhaul. This game is much brighter, and you can actually see a lot more of the environment's details. Obviously, this game still doesn't look amazing compared to the shit you see on PS4 and PS5 and Xbox Series X or PC nowadays, but for its time, this game was actually kind of decent for PlayStation 2 graphics. I originally played this game on the Xbox. My original Xbox does not work and has not worked in some time. I need to clean it and find out if cleaning it is indeed the only problem that it has. But Isaac is very different in this game, and that's very easy to see. First of all, Isaac comes off as a raving madman. That's because Isaac is a raving madman. Isaac is very much a raving fucking lunatic. The main enemy that you actually needed to kill in here, by the way, was the Cyclops. You don't have to kill the skeletons. I am killing the skeletons because I want the experience points and I want the bronze. You got the Red Ring of Death? No, it's not that I got the Red Ring of Death. It just stopped working. It stopped... Well, it didn't stop working. It stopped reading Xbox game discs. Sealed by an unknown power. Hector cannot open it with his strength alone. So, there's a chest here, but we can't access it. By the way, you're going to love this cutscene. This cutscene is awesome, and it's going to illustrate the coolest thing about this game here in a minute.
This unearthly power, is it coming from that tombstone?
Tombstone?
How conscientious of him. He carved the instructions into stone along with the most difficult visualization. So, that's how badly he wants me to regain my powers. Very well. Heed my words, O great powers of darkness. Release to me the tortured souls. Let me infuse him with my life force and awaken him to the world of the living. Immaculate being, appear before me now!
I memorized that entire ritual, by the way. I was that into this as a kid. And there's our first innocent devil, a fairy.
Well,
Devil forging, isn't it? Never seen that before. Quite impressive. It's enough to make your blood run cold.
Who are you?
Oh, my apologies, my lord. I should have offered an introduction. I go by Zed. I'm here for one purpose only. To purify this land of the pestilent curse which infects it.
I see.
You, on the other hand, are pursuing the other Devil Forge Master, are you not? The one you seek fled toward the chapel on the other side of the mountain. He made his escape through the back of the castle.
What concern is this to you?
He is the one protecting the curse. Ergo, he is an impediment to me, and to all those who abide in this land.
I see. Very well. I, Hector, thank you for your help. Now, if you'll forgive me, I must be on my way.
Innocent devil infant fairy appears. Innocent devils, or IDs, are the mystical, untainted familiars created by Devil Forge Masters. Innocent devils have absolute loyalty to their creator. Summoned ID may grant status enhancements to Hector. Status enhancements can be examined on the status screen. Innocent devils use hearts as energy. Whenever they take damage or use a special ability, their heart energy will decrease. Their heart, excuse me, Jesus, oh, that was gross, I'm sorry. If they lose all their hearts, the ID will revert to soul form. At that point, they will simply hover around Hector. If Hector can gather enough hearts, the ID's soul can be restored to material form. Innocent devils cannot die. So, your innocent devils are essentially a familiar and assistant that will help you on your journey. The more of them you collect, the more different stuff you can do with them. Most of them can help you fight. This one doesn't, but it can provide a lot of healing spells and support spells to help you out in other ways. If they are quote-unquote killed physically, their soul is permanently bonded to you. So it can't die. It can't leave this plane unless you die. If you collect enough hearts from killing enemies, you can reconstitute the body of the familiar and bring them back to life, at which point they will fight alongside you once more. Innocent devils level up with experience points by defeating enemies, just like Hector does. When an enemy is defeated by either Hector or the ID, both Hector and his ID will gain experience. An ID must be summoned for it to receive any experience points. However, to truly succeed, level up both Hector and his innocent devils. Setting the mode to auto instructs the ID to act on its own. In auto mode, the ID's manner of attack and use of special abilities are completely dictated by its own reasoning. Setting the mode to command allows Hector to directly control the ID's actions. In command mode, they stick closer to Hector, target the same enemy that Hector is battling, and in this mode, they won't use special abilities that consume any hearts unless they are specifically ordered to do so. To use an ID's special ability, select the ability with the left or right directional button and press the ability button to activate it. Use these two modes effectively to make battles easier for Hector. Infant Fairy Innocent Devil. Characteristics of the fairy types. They tend to float around the player and have the ability to open treasure chests. They can also restore HP or heal status ailments. One thing the game doesn't tell you about the fairy, by the way, is they're completely immune to damage in combat. Enemies cannot hurt your fairy type innocent devil. They take no damage. However, they're not capable of directly assisting you in combat either. You come up to this and you press the circle button on the PlayStation 2 and it will open up the chest for you. And we've acquired the Dragon Crest. You may be familiar with the Dragon Crest from the previous game we just finished. It opens up the door to the throne room. Well, the layout of this castle has been somewhat changed, but yeah, it will still be what grants you access to the rest of the castle. The main reason that I went the way that I did is because I needed to. Level 1 heal regenerates 20 of Hector's health in return for 10 hearts. Most of the heal spells you're going to pick up in this game, they're going to be pretty much complete ass. Fairies are probably the least useful. You'll still want to keep one around because they can be helpful and they can regenerate your health, and they also can have a little bit more utility beyond that, but predominantly fairy-type Innocent Devils are not going to be the one that you keep summoned out for the majority of the game. The main reason why most healing spells end up being complete ass has nothing to do with the healing spells themselves being the problem. Hector gets a lot of HP, as you've seen, every time he levels up. Because of that, his HP has a bad tendency to skyrocket so high that he doesn't get a whole lot out of many of the healing spells after he's leveled up about 5 to 20 times. Depending on the healing spell you're talking about. You'll very quickly see heal level 1 pretty much become completely fucking irrelevant. The main problem this particular game has with its narrative writing, though, is that its writing is actually very weak. This game has some comic book media that goes along with it. If you don't read those comics, you can't really figure out a lot about Hector and Isaac prior to this game, and what makes Isaac go fucking insane while Hector does what he does. Because Hector and Isaac had the utmost respect for each other. They were also they were also extremely good friends, in addition to being mutual sorcerer colleagues in the field of devil forging. Devil forging, as we'll see, is not an inherently evil art, but it can be abused quite readily in this universe. As you can see, despite the fact that I just executed a demonic ritual, I created a fairy creature. So not every innocent devil is evil just because you forged it. In fact, the nature of an innocent devil is very greatly reflected in the person who crafts it and binds it to them. So, innocent devils, they're called innocent for a reason. You decide just how malignant an innocent devil gets, because you are its master. It has absolute loyalty specifically to you, and it will obey any order you give. You could order innocent devils to slaughter young ones. You could order innocent devils to protect them. You could order innocent devils to burn villages down. You could order them to protect those villages. You could order them to hunt for animals for food, or you could order them to protect animals from poachers. Innocent devils have no will of their own. Their will is explicitly tied to protecting their master and following their master's orders. That's the only thing that matters to an innocent devil. That's how they're designed. That's how they're engineered. That is how the power of the magic behind them works. And the Innocent Devil system is easily the most cool thing about this game, because it's a very, very complex system that they have built for it. And you'll see what I mean when I say that, because this system is amazing. Innocent Devils come in a wide variety of types, and they can evolve, grow, and transform, kind of like Pokemon in some respects. The more you use them, the more powerful they get, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. Certainly ain't like Dynasty Warriors Empires. No, This game is not like Dynasty Warriors at all. It's a hack and slash, but that's about where the comparisons end. And these creatures level up by you using them, essentially. You know, the more you use it, the more powerful it gets. And you will have to rotate through each Innocent Devil you use. There's quite a bit to the Innocent Devil system, and I'll explain what I know of it as we go through it, so that everybody doesn't feel like, you know, they have to do things a specific way. Realistically speaking, you don't. You can evolve your Innocent Devils around any fucking path you want, and I encourage you. Evolve your Innocent Devils if you go back and pick this game up, and it is worth playing. Even for the Innocent Devils alone, it's worth playing. And it's got a good it's actually got a very good combat system. They overhauled the combat system from the first game very, very well, in my opinion. It's not perfect, but no game is. This is, in my opinion, one of the best games on PlayStation 2. But there we go. Kill the merman. The Innocent Devil system is really, really interesting, though. It's got a lot of different little bits and bobs, ways to enhance, ways to play. There's a ton of different weapon types, by the way, in this game. You will notice that Hector came in with a short sword. Hector is not limited to a short sword for weapons. Hector will find a wide variety of weapons over the course of the game. I say find, but you don't actually find that many weapons so much as you craft a lot of weapons. And this game does have a crafting system. It's not a bad crafting system. You can also pick up potions in this game. I'm going to go to about 40 minutes of this. I wanted to try and do the entire first level of the game. I don't know if I'll be able to do the entire first level of the Abandoned Castle or not. But I'm trying to. Bestiary. So the game just gave us the bestiary thing. So now we can actually look at the... If we want to examine the enemies that we've killed for weaknesses and whatnot, we can do that. And for whether or not they have item drops, so that we know to prioritize enemies based on certain item drops. Item drops are something you actually kind of want to watch for in this game, because enemies have a lot of different items that they can drop. And many of the items that they can drop or have taken from them are actually materials that you need in order to craft new weapons. As you saw, the ghost enemy is back, the skeleton enemy is also back. Skeletons have been overhauled, in my opinion, to look much better than they used to, although admittedly they're even weaker than they were before because they're even easier to kill. The ghost enemy has been heavily overhauled, so it now looks a lot bigger, a lot better, a lot more solid. There's a lot to this game, and it's really good. This game is much better. Lizzie, I mentioned that I was going to show you a very different Hector than the Hector from the Castlevania animation. I want you to understand, this is a different Hector. This is not the exact same person in terms of personality. I prefer this version a lot more just because I grew up with it. You were shown the Castlevania animation Hector first. I don't want you to feel like this version of Hector is just innately superior, but I do think he is a little bit better written. So I'm going to try to talk about that in a respectful and appreciative manner, because I don't actually hate the version of Hector that was made in the animation. I just hate that, you know, he had literally no agency himself in terms of actually affecting the plot until literally the final season of the show. Because that version of Hector has no actual agency until the game is over. Or until the show is pretty much over. And a lot of the agency that he does have, you don't see. Next is the Fenrir enemy. There were Fenrir enemies before. They basically look like just regular Rottweilers. You'll notice they have a more unique model in this game and a little bit more unique behavior. I actually like the way they behave in this game because they behave more like feral, monstrous canines. And I think that's awesome. And to anybody who enjoyed the Castlevania animation, I'm glad you did. And I am not going to shit on the animation, but I am going to critique it. And I want people to try and keep the difference for whenever they watch this. Keep the difference in your head. There is a difference between shitting all over the animation and critiquing it. Nocturne? I will shit all over Nocturne any day of the week. Anytime anybody brings up Nocturne. Castlevania Nocturne was fucking terrible. Castlevania the animation was actually really good. Particularly if you take it as an alternate continuity. Which is how I actually treat it. And it's one of the main reasons I'm able to respect it. I don't treat Nocturne as an alternate continuity because Nocturne fucking sucks. So you'll notice there's this giant wall of barrels. And you'll also notice when we destroy them, pink fluid sprays out. These are wine barrels. Each one of them actually has a small chance to drop a vintage wine bottle. And we didn't get one. It's not a big deal. It's a minor health restorative, and it's not even a good one. Aluminum! Very light metal used by some alchemists, but mostly unknown. Makes very light armor. It also makes certain weapons. In this game. And nowadays, we can actually forge aluminum pretty hardcore. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. You will also notice I'm not really giving those dogs much of an opportunity to attack me. Yeah, those things hurt. And we will meet other dogs later that will get an opportunity to hit me, whether I want them to or not. We're going to see a lot of enemies that we saw before in slightly different variations. And we're going to see a lot of enemies that we saw before, or that we didn't see before, in their own variation. Goodbye. But Fox had a real, like, kind of what the fuck moment when I talked about how powerful Devil Forgers were actually supposed to be and how Hector was the more powerful one in the original games, in the lore of the video games. Hector was actually the stronger Devil Forger of the two. Isaac was always weaker than he was. So, to see Isaac be such a ferocious warrior in the animation, meanwhile Hector doesn't get to hurt, doesn't even get into a fight, and the one fight he does get into, he gets bitch slapped and smacked around in like he's a fucking ragdoll. That aggravated the living hell out of me. Because Hector was supposed to be the stronger warrior of the two, but Isaac's the only one in the animation you actually get to see fight anybody. And he kills multiple vampires before he's actually thrown into the African desert by Dracula in a desperate bid to save his life. And to be fair, it saves his life. Weapon combining skill. It's possible to create new weapons and armor by combining various materials together. Choose Combine from the status window to go to the combination screen. Combining can be performed at any time, and as weapons and armor increase, more combinations will become possible. When you find new materials, check the combination list to see if anything new is available. It is also useful to check the bestiary to see which monsters possess certain materials. Okay, so we're going to go into the bestiary. And you can immediately see, if you look to the center right, skeletons drop bronze. Wild memories are dropped by Fenrir's. Those are materials you need to combine. You can now combine equipment. Combining a short sword with aluminum creates the first rapier sword. Combining a short sword with a wild memory creates the first axe. And here's where we kind of actually start getting into some interesting stuff. Hector can wield 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different weapon types. There are 3 subtypes in swords, 2 subtypes in axes, there's 1 type of spear and 1 type of knuckle weapon, and then lastly, there are special weapons. We can now craft a leather helm and craft some soft leather armor. I can now equip a foil. A rapier used when learning fencing. Light, easy to grip, and serviceable in real combat. Simple, functional sword. Sturdy, good for taking on groups, and easy to keep under total control. A simple one-handed axe comprising a triangular head on a pole. Easy to use, but not that effective. Light and easy to wear, cheap and easy to find. Just don't expect it to protect your head that well. But you'll notice it's slightly more protective than wearing no armor. Cheap and easy to find, great armor for the beginner, crafted with love and care. Again, more protective than wearing nothing. I like the little bits of personality that it puts into those. You'll also notice that she is kind of looking at this suspiciously. If you break this column, it drops this down. Now we can continue the game. So yeah, you can craft weapons and armor in this game now. Pretty much any time you find a new material, you should do exactly as the game tells you, by the way, and go into your menus to look and see if you can create a new weapon or a new piece of armor. Because pretty much any time you get new materials, you're gonna be able to get new gear. ID Evolution Crystal. When some monsters are defeated, they drop evolution crystals that affect the development of your innocent devil. By collecting a certain amount and giving them to your ID, its form will change. There are various types of evolution crystals. The type of evolution crystal that's dropped will change depending on the weapon Hector is using. Thus, ID's evolutions will be different when given crystals found using a sword-type weapon versus an axe-type weapon. So, in order to evolve your innocent devils, there are 5 different crystal types in the game, 1 for each type of weapon that Hector can use. Red for swords, blue for axes, green for spears, yellow crystals for fisticuff weapons, and white crystals for special. Different crystals produce different innocent devils. It is possible to prevent evolution crystals from appearing while using an ID. This allows the ID to level up in its current form. On the summoning screen, select the ID and move left or right toggle on the generation to toggle the generation of the crystals on or off. We are actually going to go into our summons and turn this off for right now. You can also send your innocent devil back if you don't want to keep running around with them, or you're afraid they'll lose their life bar and die. The main reason to ever do that, realistically, is just to challenge yourself. There's no reason to ever tell your Innocent Devil to go back, because it can still provide stat bonuses even in soul form. And those stat bonuses can make you more dangerous. As you can see, the rapier subtype of swords has a very, very different moveset from regular swords. It's light, it's fast, and it's more focused on one-on-one combat. It's my favorite subtype of the swords, but I'll show off each one. I'll show off pretty much every type of weapon in the game. I have to, in order to make the Innocent Devil monsters that I want anyway. Zombies are back. They look very different in this game, and they behave a little bit different. They have a lot of similar attacks, but they're slower. However, they're not as easily stun-locked. Honestly, I like their design in this game a lot better than the previous one. We now have access to enemy wizards. Wizards can regenerate the health of enemy monsters. Kill them first whenever you fight any monster group. They can cast a powerful healing spell that will bring the HP of the monster back. The music to this game is also incredible, by the way. This game has one of the best soundtracks. Every Castlevania game that I've ever played pretty much always has a really good soundtrack. The music team for those games really does get the shaft not getting noticed as much. They can still throw up all over the floor, and it will cause you to take damage if you touch it. And now we see the Skeleton Blaze enemy. These guys are kind of a ninja-like skeleton. They're really fast and agile. They can throw explosives. Their arms, as you see, are giant blades, so they can and will cut you. I'm going to have to stop the stream here soon. When I find another save point, I will end the stream right away. I didn't get to do the entire abandoned castle like I wanted, but sadly, that's not really the end of the world. I finished Lament of Innocence, and I damn near 100% of the whole game. The throwing technique that the short sword has can kind of get around that nasty, damaging vomit. Because it can hit it from... It can hit them from range. And it has just enough reach to hit them over their throw-up attack. But you can also wait until they decide to stop doing it. This music fucking rules! This is the Armor Knight. Just like the previous game's Armor Knights, you cannot stun this enemy. You must attack it around its attacks or between them. They will also try to block your attacks sometimes with a shield. If you do what I do and you use a charge attack at the end of your combo, you'll always break their guard and allow them to open up for more damage. By the way, we haven't seen the last of Zed. That guy's going to be really important over the course of the game. Stop trying to heal the Armor Knight. You hit their shield enough times, it'll get knocked out of the way regardless as to whether or not you hit it with a heavy attack. Hitting it with a heavy attack just always guarantees a guard break. Punch rings. So now we have a fist weapon. Hello. It's very easy to dance around them with a weapon as fast and agile as the rapier. This room is filled to the brim with wizards. Do not try to fight the Armor Knight first, they will just heal him. You'll also get your second quick step, and that allows you to quick step cancel the fuck out of the area so that you can dodge around enemy attacks really reliably if you know how. He just healed the Armor Knight. That's like, that spell looked like it did nothing. If I was looking at the Armor Knight, you'd be able to tell. You'll also notice they fixed the camera system. It's a lot fucking easier to manage the goddamn camera now that it actually sticks to the character that you're playing as the focal point. If you proceed, you lose your currently equipped weapon. Will you proceed? In this case, I'm not losing a currently equipped weapon, I'm losing currently equipped armor. But I got a Corinthian helmet, which is more protective than my soft leather helm. Instead of giving me +2 defense, it gives me +4 defense. I just had to go and re-equip it. That little symbol you see under my feet, that's built to tell you, hey, there's a save door here. And save rooms always have this blue relief door on them. So the game now directs you towards a save point when you start to walk by. This is designed by the developers to help make sure you never walk by a save room again without knowing. So if you do happen to walk that close to one, you are gonna know it's there. All you have to do is know to look at your feet. I've been Savage Hound Dusk. Thank you all very much for watching. Check out my YouTube to catch up on all my old videos. Catch up on... Join my Discord if you want to be able to suggest games for me to stream in the future. And I'll see you guys next time on Castlevania Curse of Darkness. But my next stream tomorrow will be Mass Effect 3, and we will see the final act of Mass Effect 3 if I have my way. Have a good day, everybody.